The Fed juiced the market with the 0.25% rate cut yesterday. We're seeing the effects of that already rippling through our portfolios. We've got Nvidia might actually be in trouble. We're going to talk about that here in a second. And many, and I mean many tickers are poised to explode. And we're going to talk about how do we take profit during this euphoric moment. And believe me, euphoria is happening. It's happening right now. But before we get going, check out the channel memberships, especially that stalagmite level, if you want to see how I am navigating this very difficult time in the market where I am buying and selling things. Stalagmite is where you get the real-time trade posts and members-only videos. You could also support the channel through SodaStraw, where you get the badges, you get the emojis, you get early access to these videos while they're processing up to HD, so that gives you about a 20-minute head start. Priority reply to comments and suggestions, and Stalactite gets you all that, plus member shout-outs. And of course, go ahead, please like, subscribe, share this video, comment, all that stuff. I said that in a weird order, I know. We're at a really important juncture in this where we're trying to grow. We need to get these ideas in front of as many eyes and ears as possible so that us as retail investors aren't the ones left holding the bag this time around. And the only way we're going to do that is through education. And I'm not saying Trade Cave is the only place to get that education, but it is one of the places to get that education. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look here. So first I'm going to go with Nvidia. I already told you FOMC went decent. They gave us the rate cuts. He talked about jobs and how those are falling apart. You know, the economy is basically saying it's falling apart a little bit without saying it, which is why the market was kangarooing all over the place, up, down, all around. It was very difficult to trade. I did try to take one trade on it. I took a loss on that. It ended up where I needed it to be, but it ended up being there a little too late. So with the FOMC day, you're really looking at a wicked whipsaw back and forth. It tends to cut both sides. That's okay though. I just used some gambling money that I had from previous wins. I'm up several $1,000s the last couple of months, so I had money to play with and potentially lose. So that was okay. It wasn't the end of the day or end of the world. Bleh. All right. So what has got Nvidia potentially in trouble? All these headlines: Alibaba developing an AI chip, Amazon steps up effort to build AI chips, Google is building its own AI chips, OpenAI set to finalize first custom AI chips, Elon Musk's xAI to develop its own chips. That's also bad for Nvidia, by the way. I mean, Nvidia. That's also bad for AMD, by the way. Nvidia makes the chips. If everyone else is making their own chips, who's buying Nvidia chips? And that might be why we're seeing Nvidia finally starting to decline. Notice how we're getting lower lows and lower highs. We take out this low here at 163, Nvidia is most likely going to come back down to about 157, where I don't think there's a lot of support there, so I'm looking at it to come back all the way down to about 145. Now, would that be a good buy zone? Possibly. I'm sure Nvidia will find a way. Oh, Nvidia also lost their deal with China because China says they don't want to buy their chips, and instead they're going to develop their own. So Nvidia is in a little bit of trouble. And that means that AMD is also in a little bit of trouble. Look at AMD's down 5% today. 5% in pre-market. Look at that. So I wanted to buy some AMD. I don't know if I will buy some AMD anymore, given that this development, since everyone's making their own. I don't know why ARM is down, because ARM is still going to be the basis for most of these, unless one of these or a few of these guys. I know Alibaba will probably use risk-free. xAI might as well. But we'll see. I would think ARM would be doing better, but it's not. So interesting. Very, very interesting. Intel up 31% this morning. Whoa. Wow. I have some calls on that. And if you're in Stalagmite, you might as well have some calls on that. That is going to be very interesting. My only regret is not having bought more. Yeah, that's going to be wild. Okay, I can't wait for that this morning. I'm going to have to be done with this before market open because I'm selling that immediately. All right, anyways, that's cool. I'm assuming this is largely due to all of this news and the rate cuts, because who's going to fab this stuff? Who's going to fab this? Especially all these American companies. Intel's the only US-based fab. Not that TSM's not going to get a large chunk of this, probably most of it, but the government, I think, would like it if you used Intel, largely because they've been pouring money into it like crazy. And Intel's been all too happy to burn all that government money. Anyways, let's move on here. We're going to look at a little bit of crypto miners. So miners, Bitcoin miners are doing great. Look at this. Pre-market. CleanSpark up 3.5%. I told you these laggards are waking up. This was a bull flag. It's popping off. It's going to come at least to 1246, maybe even up to 1365 here in the coming days, possibly even higher. Mara, $17 here. It's going to push probably to that 1980 level, which is that most traded zone for Mara after this nice consolidation zone. HUT still on a bit of a tear. Look at this thing. It wants that $41. I'm almost out of my full HUT position. I took some profit at 200%. I took some more profit at 300%. I'll probably take a little more profit at 400%. So that's exciting. Hive, I've took half my position out of Hive to get to lock in, my cost basis. So it was all pure profit, and I'm just watching this thing rise. Bitfarms, I got completely out of Bitfarms at a little over 400%, but look at this thing. It's still running. This thing might even run up to $4. That is an insane run. We're talking, it went from 70 cents all the way up to $3 here in a very short order. That is wild. IREN still reaching for that $41 level. I think it will eventually get it. We'll see. At some point, these things will roll over, but not today. Cypher. Also pushing. This one looks like it wants to push up to that $14 level. We've got Riot. Riot is finally getting interesting here. You can see they came above that descending trend, tapped it from above, came up, bull flagged, and then launched. We are looking at trying to go for at least 1850 on Riot, and then we'll reassess from there and see what it's going to do. Core Z finally got that pop up. I'm not exactly sure. I think I'd probably stay away from this one and probably just trade Core Weave just because they're going to get bought. The deal is still getting worked out, and this is kind of those kangaroo style market while it is getting there. Wolf broke out above this. That's huge. Wolf broke out above that. Wolf is Wolf. Okay, so we got to come over here to see what's going on with Wolf. Wolf has got to chew through some resistance, so it's got to chew through it up to about $15. But once it's above $15, it's kind of open air all the way to 25. So Wolf is gonna possibly go wild here. So pay attention to Wolf. It got a Bollinger Band squeeze here, and it's about to expand upward. So that'll be very, very interesting. BitDeer waking up here. It came out of the pennant here, and it is moving up. Out of that pennant, it could easily find itself trading at $19, potentially even $21.50 to $22. So BitDeer, interesting as well. Digital, bit of a laggard here. It's making a bull flag here. Ethereum gets a push up. We'll see a push up in Digital as well. However, my current preferred asset for underlying Ethereum is going to be Bitmine, BMNR, Tom Lee's new pet. CANG, is it breaking out? Not yet. CANG is still underneath that 564 level. Once it gets above that, I'll be interested. This is kind of the floor, though. It's got to turn around here. Otherwise, it will drop further down to about 355. So we're watching CANG, see what it does. We're looking also at Bitcoin treasuries like SUI-G. If you're in SUI, if you like SUI-G is the treasury company to hold for that one. And when it pops out of this little zone here, it's going to come right up to like 588, maybe $6, maybe 631 out of that. BMNR. Pre-market $59. I might need to roll this up today. If you're in Stalagmite, you'll see when I do that. I'm watching that $66 level, though. That's going to be an area where I get a little bit concerned. Like, that's where I'm feeling cautious. And let me actually move this up to about right there. This is where I'm feeling cautious. And I'm going to put an alert on there. And you know what? I'm just going to go in here, and I'm going to type caution. Because if it can't get over that and it rolls over, it's going to come all the way back to the bottom of the range. So pay attention to that. That's going to be an important little spot there. MSTR, still not doing much. Still kind of following this fractal. Now it's detached from a little bit, but the shape is exactly the same with the same timing. So that's kind of concerning for MicroStrategy. If MicroStrategy cannot get back above 458, and I mean soon, and I don't really see a reason that it will do it soon, I see it potentially making a lower high here around 400, 415, and then rolling over for the end of the cycle there. So pay attention to that. CAN is not waking up yet, still going sideways. I think it will continue to go sideways a little bit longer and eventually pop off. So Luna started popping off. It went from 44 cents all the way up to $1.10. It's currently hanging out at 98 cents. I feel like it is following this fractal here, and if it continues to follow this fractal here, that would be quite amazing. Zone, if you're in zone, that is up 5% in the after hours. They now hold 600 million Doge. 600 million Doge. They're holding on to over $162 million of Doge. Okay, they have over $162 million of Doge. Their market cap is currently $40 million. That's a lot less than $162 million. That's a lot less than that. They're also going to buy 400 million more Doge, which is, equates to more than $100 million more of buying from them, or more than 80, more than 80 something, 80, almost $90 million of buying for them, which is significantly more than $40 million, which is their current market cap. What I'm trying to say is Zone, based on their current holdings, is significantly undervalued, and that's why I've been buying up Zone. All right. I can see these highs coming back. I can see higher than these highs coming back for Zone. So as long as Doge holds, Doge gives out, then yeah, it's done. Now, Doge was up 5% yesterday, and then it came back down a little bit today, a tiny bit, 28 cents. I really want to see Doge get up and above 29 cents and hold, and then I'd be looking at it running to 35, 40, maybe even 50 cents. Doge has not made a new all-time high this cycle. I am waiting for it to do so. It came out of this pennant. It made a bull flag. All we have to do is get above 29 cents, and that bull flag is real, and it can push, 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 push. Okay, so pay attention to Doge. Doge goes up, Zone goes up. It's going to be great. There. Bitcoin is up here, pushing up. Who knew September was going to be such a good month? I don't know. Maybe everybody with the global liquidity index here. We saw that dip into the rip through September, and that rip continues. And notice something about this. Let me go ahead and drag this a little bit lower. Notice something about the global liquidity versus the Bitcoin chart. The global liquidity started to dip and completed its dip back on August 16th, but Bitcoin waited until August 14th to even begin the dip, continued that dip through August 31st. So we're talking about 2 weeks late this thing started. So this might continue 2 weeks past this October 5. So we're looking at maybe October 20th for this to continue rising. So pay attention for that potentially. Now it could roll over. Now, when we get to here, this dip in liquidity around early November, this might be that week 3 October shock where it just dips really hard, comes back for support, probably around 112 from wherever it goes. It could go 150 and come right back to 112 for a day or two. But look for that spike down in November. And we're watching this hard right edge over here to see, will this, because it's flattening here. This is flatlining now here, and it's been flatlining for November 11th all the way through December, the end of the year. So we might get a really lackluster last 5-6 weeks of the year. So pay attention to that for Bitcoin. We might see this push up, flush down, flatness, and then I'm watching this hard right edge to see if it starts rising again dramatically. And if it does that, I'm looking for this cycle to potentially be elongated into Q1 of 2026. Like that is possible now. So we're paying attention for that. All right. Now let's talk about risk management for a second. We're going to talk about risk management for a moment. So right now, when do we sell, right? When do we sell? We got these wild rides. Everything's flying up like crazy. Where do we sell? Where do we sell these things? So there's a couple of different schools of thought on that. One, you can use an SMA, right? You can use an SMA. A lot of people like to use the 5. I've got a 7 up here. Let me turn this up. I've got the 7 here, which is not bad in this case on CleanSpark, and this will change as soon as the market opens. In fact, let me go to show where it currently is right now. Okay, so it'd be a return all the way to $11 from where it currently is. So that'd be like a $1 drop, and then I'd cut it if it dropped to 7. You could do it with the 5. A lot of people do it with the 5. That'll be just a little bit tighter. So in this case, instead of 11, it might be 11.29 where you'd be watching that. Another one that people like to do here, I'll fix that later. Another one people like to use is the ATR trailing stop loss. That's an indicator here, ATR trailing stop loss. Let's see, ATR trailing. Yeah, whoops. This one right here by Sehun, ATR trailing stop. That's the one I like to use. That one is actually, let me go to the daily. Yeah, that one's actually all the way down to $10. So that's pretty far. Still, let me maybe see 4 hour if I like that a little better. Yeah, the 4 hours got like that trend. Maybe the 4 or the 6. So the 4 is at 11.15, somewhere that which would be beneath this bull flag here. So that's reasonable in my opinion. So when it breaks that, great. The other school of thought here, and this is what I've been doing, is I've just been selling into strength. I've just been selling into strength. When things look strong, I sell them. Because strength in these assets tends, not always, but tends to be followed by extreme weakness. So we get that push, and like the moment it shows weakness, it starts to sell off. So on CleanSpark, now I do have my targets, right? I have my targets. I am looking for CleanSpark to come up and hit 13.30. And if it fails there, I'll start taking some profit and then watching to see if it holds at 12.46. If it breaks that, I'm also watching this line up here for like the first week or the second week of October, 14.43, which is the tops here from before, from the tops from February and July. Looking at that. I'm also looking at this local high back here to come back up to this local cluster around 18. I'm looking for a push to 18 like it's done before. And in a euphoric moment, I'm looking for 22 to 25, maybe even higher if it can break through all that. But there's a ton of resistance over there. Lots of sellers between 16 and 25. So pay attention to all that. Basically, and you can apply that to any of the miners, right? You can look at the 5 EMA. You can look at the ATR trailing stop loss, or of course, you can draw trend lines from the peaks of previous highs, or find an area with extreme resistance, or on the volume profile, right? See 1624 volume profile. If it comes to that and it fails, it might drop all the way back down to 12. Basically, let's go look at Mara real quick. Let me show you one on Mara. Mara, let me turn off the drawings so it's not so wild here. Mara, yeah. Right, we just got above a hump there. We're looking at 1905 is the next one. If it fails there, it might come all the way back down to 17. If it succeeds there, we're looking at 25. Okay, if we bring in even more of this, yeah, same thing. We're still looking at about 25, where we could fail. And if it breaks through that, then if it gets above 25 and does it easily, man, we're pushing all the way to 30s, maybe even higher. Let's take a look at HUT. How did HUT do it? Yeah, same thing with HUT. Like, it looks just like Mara, right? Where we had like spike, and they kept getting smaller. And as it conquered each one, notice how it conquered this last one here at 25. It just went parabolic. It just went absolutely parabolic after it conquered 25. Look at that, just straight up. That's what I'm looking at for Mara, for CleanSpark, for all those. Let's look at Bitfarms. I'm sure Bitfarms has a similar thing too. And that'll be the last one that we look at. Yeah, the spike. As soon as we got above that spike, parabolic. So that's not a place, that's a place where if it shows weakness and it falls and loses a recent low, then it's going to go to the next level below. But if it conquers it, man, it's going to go parabolic. So we're watching that very carefully. I think I run out of time for other tickers. Soxel, I'm looking at Soxel to do some big moves here right now. I'm looking for it to break out from this 30s into the next level, which is about 41, possibly as high as 52 in the next like year or so. VRT, that also drags up VRT. That also drags up Teradyne. That also drags up ACMR, as well as AMKR, which does a very similar thing to ACMR. And that's already happening there. You can see it. I also am very hype about NBIS. I'm looking at that to touch $100, potentially higher, especially with the huge deal they just made with Microsoft. CoreWeave made a huge deal again with Nvidia, so they're looking at this bull flag, and we get above here, we're pushing to 145, 150 on CoreWeave, so watch that. Circle is the stable coin, big USDC. We hold right here where we are. I'm looking for a push to about 160. It conquers 160, which I don't see why it wouldn't. It's a lot less volume than where it is, or what's above here. I'm looking for 189 on that bad boy as well. Anyways, that's I think all I've got for you aside from Tesla. We're going to talk about Tesla because Tesla's a wild thing lately. All right, Tesla. We conquered 430. Tesla's going for this high here. It's going to run for the high. It's going to touch 465 first, struggle a little bit there, and then if it can push, it's going to run for the high. It's going to try to touch $500. So pay attention for that. We're above this little hump right here. As long as we're above 421, and honestly, above 416 at the extreme low there, as long as we're above 416, this thing has potential for 500. By the end of the year. So don't discount that at all, quite yet. As long as rate cuts keep coming in, people can afford more car. People can afford more car, Tesla go up. Tesla drops. It's expanding self-driving all over the place. Tesla go up. It's going to release Optimus sometime early next year. And they keep bringing out news articles about it and announcements about it. Tesla go up. That's it. That's all I got to say about that. And of course, nothing I say is financial advice, not a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. You got to do your own research, come to your own conclusions, and as always, you are responsible for your own risk. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, share this video. It does so much to help the channel. We got to get this information in front of as many eyes and ears as we can. If you want some insight into how I am navigating these difficult markets, that's going to be in the stalagmite level of the members section. But if you want to just support the channel, Soda Straw and Stalactite are also good options. You get the badges, you get the emojis, you get early access to the videos while they're processing up to HD, and you get some priority in terms of comments and shout outs. And with that said, have a profitable day.